Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Highbury Squad. It is Lockdown Series Volume 2, Episode 63. And you know what time it is. It's time for a little Kevin Says. Let's go! Welcome to another edition of Kevin Says. Back in the house is Super Kevin Campbell.
Oh,
how you doing, Casey?
Listen, I must say I was very impressed with 5 things. You didn't even get to 2. It was brilliant. 1 was enough. Trust me. I thought the show was absolutely brilliant.
Oh,
so
thanks,
I've got
Kev.
to say that I really did, and I was like that at the end. Yeah, you done it. You smashed it with that. Very impressed.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. It means a lot coming from you. Just spoke from the heart. We have so many more issues than just what's happening this season. And
you hit some nails on the head, darling. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. You can check that out on our Highbury Squad YouTube channel. But right now, yes. Do you remember the theme tune to Minder? Dun 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 dun.
Oh, geez.
We did that show already. Good evening to all the squaddies in the house. Welcome, Amesy. Welcome, Erna. Welcome, Newman. Welcome, Alcarp. Welcome, Nana. Welcome to everybody. Matty K. South London's finest, of course.
Yes.
We broke the neck. And much to Kev's happiness, Liverpool losing 2-0 to Madrid. And Christoph, is sunny in New York. Well done. I love that. Sunny days in New York. You can't beat that.
I don't know if anybody felt like it had it today. In England, I went through sunny, sleet, sun, snow,
unbelievable.
sun, snow. Incredible day it was.
Amazing day. Scriv, Gail, Keith, Moss, JS, welcome everyone. Right, let's get stuck into this. As Kevin says, there's no time to waste.
No message.
You know the rules. We play 3 videos. Let's get your comments on the very first question. I have a feeling I know where this may have come from. Let's go.
Hi everyone. This is Kev Says, part 25. And I'm calling this reality check. And I'm going to be very brief and to the point because I want as many people in the chat, etc., to really engage. I think it's really important. So, obviously, the 2 questions and the bonus. And the first question is, do we let our emotions rule our heads regarding the Arsenal? That's question 1.
Coincidentally, that looked like the New York skyline behind you. We were just talking about the New York weather, Kev. That's a very good question. I wonder where that came from. Did it?
What? Did what? No, I actually done that on Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I've done it on Sunday morning because I know. Listen, I know how the Arsenal fans are, and listen. The truth of the matter is we're feeling it. We're feeling pain at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, but sometimes, I tend to try and say, take the emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people make decisions on emotion, a lot of the time, it's not smart.
So what's interesting to me is that football is a game that is built on emotion. It is built in the stadium. You go through 90 plus minutes and you go through highs, lows, you go through euphoria, you go through pain. It's an emotional roller coaster, football. And a lot of the times when we come on and we talk in the post-game show, there is a lot of emotion that runs, whether we win or lose or draw.
Cool.
That's the reality of the fan. So I think lately Arsenal fans wear their emotion on their sleeve because when you're used to winning and the history and a little bit what I talked about last night is so hard. Once you stay at the Four Seasons, it's really hard to stay at the roadside motel. Once you've lived life a certain way, it's very hard to go back to living life a different way. And these are just facts. So it, for me personally, Arsenal has been an emotional roller coaster for a long time, and I don't think it's getting any better. So let's switch to the chat and hear what the folks have to say. For you here, Kev, on the emotional
At least
roller coaster.
Akindelli's not happy. Perfect 70 degrees in Washington.
Well, yeah,
he's all right. Yeah.
That's not bad for Washington. Ben Nevis, no, I'm not sure about that. JS says no. Our emotions are in the right place. What's the right place? JS, explain that for us, and then we can get stuck into it. Anik says, so does it mean about the manager, Kev? I think you're talking about fans here mostly, right?
And in general, it's got to be Arsenal fans in general, because we done it probably 3 months ago, Sophie, where if every game is going to be the roller coaster in your emotions and your outlook, you shouldn't be watching the games, in a sense, because this has been coming a long time, is my point. This Arsenal, because we won the FA Cup last season, that never meant that this team could do something. People may have thought that because we won a trophy, but the writing was on the wall. Any challenge this team came to, there's only once where they've done it. That was end of last season.
Okay, let me put Static's comment up here. Kev, I've been feeling pain since October or November. It still hasn't gone away, both emotionally and no emotion. Arsenal FC, it's beyond embarrassing. Sophie is right. It's been 17 years of pain. What do you think about Static's comment? I think that's fair and balanced in the sense that they take you here, they take you there, you go back here, you go back there. And at some point, I think where Static is at is maybe he's kind of plateaued now.
One thing I will say to Static is, if he's only been feeling pain since October and November, what happened to the months before that? What happened to the months before that? Because I tell you what, I was feeling pain before that. I was feeling pain last season. I was feeling pain seasons before and before and before. What happened to the build-up? This is my whole point. It doesn't go away, but how do you manage it? Static, don't tell me about 17 years. I'm the one who tells about 17 years of rubbish.
You know why it's worse, Kev, than ever? Because in those 17 years, we were qualifying for the Champions League. So it was the carrot they dangled, right? Here it is. We've done it again. We've done it again. We've done it again. We're in the Champions League again. There it is. Oh, we've won an FA Cup. We're going to build on that. It's the carrots they've dangled. So now the pain's so much worse because why? The Champions League carrot, they can't dangle anymore. And the place we're in the Premier League is worse than ever. And I think that's why some fans like Static are at the point they're at right now. And some even after, from when Unai was manager, Super Kev.
Yeah, look, I understand the pain. Of course, I'm an Arsenal fan. I feel the pain. But my key point is, does the emotion overrule the head? Because we are not that club anymore. And this is just a fact. We are not that club who were built to win anymore. No. And we need to be a club. We need to get that back as quickly as possible. Correct?
We do. I'm going to run through these. Moss says, question one, of course, Kev. Of course we do, Kev. Emotion. Johnny Boy says, guilty as charged. It's a fair cop. Keith, yes, we do. And I think we've always done that in terms of the emotion. Darren, the Arteta excuse campaign is in full swing. Someone wants to let us know that Norwich are up 5 because of Buendia, but whatever. Jeff says, hell yes, we're emotional. Ernest says, yes, of course, it's football. Dominic, one for you maybe to answer. I think we need to be more smart with our actions in resentment. Do you think there's a lot of resentment, Kev, that then becomes the emotional roller coaster?
Well, here's one thing I will say, and that's not a bad point by Dominic there, to be honest. One thing I will say is this, Sophie. Static mentioned 17 years. Mikel Arteta's been at the club how long? Not even 18 months, fully as manager. The time might have been there, but obviously we've had lockdowns and all that. So basically 15 and a half years is before him, where this thing has been going down and down and down and down and down. Now, if it's supposed to be addressed, how is it supposed to be addressed in 18 months? It is not. That's my point, and that's what I was going to come to at the end.
Right. Okay.
These things of if you lay all the problems out that Arsenal had in 15 years and expect them to be all tidied up in 18 months, they should be putting straitjackets on us. If we think that's the case.
Well, for me, it's not. It's from the end of the Wenger era to Emery and Arteta, and that was my take on the show last night. I don't think that most sensible Arsenal fans are looking at this from that point of view. Amesy says my emotions are a roller coaster this season. Gossip, Guna Gossip. Hi, Soph. Welcome into the chat. Always good to see you here. Supporting Arsenal will be the death of me, but I couldn't live without Arsenal. Supporting Arsenal is an emotional roller coaster. Spot on by Soph. There, Kev.
It is an emotional roller coaster, and that's the problem because it's an emotional roller coaster. A lot of people make comments and form opinions because of the emotion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Darren says, I wouldn't mind, but we were sold a Rottweiler and received a poodle puppy.
There's only one Rottweiler been at the Arsenal, right? That was me. That was only one Rottweiler at the Arsenal.
If I can do the eyes,
you know what I mean? There's only one been at the Arsenal. That's me.
I agree with this. Kev, we both agree on this, right? John Hill, Wenger stayed 8 years overtime. I'm not sure if it was 8, but definitely after the second FA Cup, he should have gone. But you agree with this? Too much sometimes.
Yeah, maybe not 8 years, but he stayed a little bit longer than he should. And you know what? This is one thing I will say, and I'll touch on what you were talking about yesterday, to be fair, Sophie. A lot of those Wenger years, and they were feeding us that carrot of Champions League football, and fans were lapping it up, laughing at everyone else, thinking, "Yeah, we're doing something." When we're doing nothing, actually, it was getting worse in front of our eyes. Because you know what, Sophie, in the Champions League, we done nothing.
Nothing. Once we did something. We got one to the final once.
Yeah, but that was a long time.
Century ago.
That was a long time. Listen, we done nothing.
Yep.
We had a good game here and there, but what did we actually do?
We just made money. That's it.
We done nothing, and as a fan base, people talk about accepting mediocrity. Well, what did our fan base accept? Our fan base accepted Champions League football every year.
Yep.
And knowing we weren't getting stuffed 10-2 by Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
After being told we're going to move to the Emirates to compete.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear anyone really. Of course, people are upset. But the complaining that I'm hearing now I wasn't hearing it then. And now for the last, 4 or 5 years, no Champions League, all of a sudden, someone's come in who they're trying to take us in another direction. So that's the key. He's trying to take us in another direction because the way it was not working. And we talk about experienced managers. Even with experienced managers, it never worked.
Yeah. I mean, it's important for financial reasons, but if you don't back being in the Champions League to actually win it like other teams, and then you don't spend the money wisely and you spunk the money and you make bad contracts and you just continually do bad business deals, it's futile. What's the point? Look where we are now, you know?
And here's my point, Sophie. And that's why I listened intently to your wonderful Monday pod yesterday. I thought it was brilliant, right? But this is the thing, Sophie. If we're doing all of that work, getting to the Champions League, getting all that money in, when Arsene Wenger left, we should have a team that can challenge on every level. Getting in the Champions League every year for 20 years, we should have a squad, not like this one. We should have a squad that can compete.
Absolutely.
And that's the issues.
Yeah.
So again, why people are getting emotional now and this and that, it's like they've forgotten what's gone on in the past.
Yep.
And whether we like it or not, it's the past that controls the now.
Let's hear what Keith has to say. We're a big club that acts like a small club, and we've had years of it. So we are all fed up and having to watch other teams surpass us. So the club have done it to us and shown no emotion to us fans. There's some merit to this, Kev, because
100%.
we were sold the new stadium. We bought the Kool-Aid. We drank the Kool-Aid. And then
it tastes nice at first.
Oh, yeah. And then they shoved it down our throats a few years later. And then we saw what happened, after that. So Keith has a point here, no?
Good points. Really good point. And yeah, it does hurt when you see lesser teams go past you. But this is the problem. Arsenal deteriorated in front of our very eyes. In front of our very eyes. But not everybody was happy with a Champions League spot. This is the problem. Our club went from being winners to being a team that qualifies for the Champions League.
But do things like this, because I wanted to put Johnny Boys up, but this is what makes some fans like emotional, or they react emotionally because they can see, if we can see what we need, if we can see what we're missing, Kev, if we can see all of these things, why can't they? And then you give holding a 4-year contract, you're going to give El Neni a new contract. I mean, we're so desperate. It's like I said last night, one desperate move after the other, not all necessarily good decisions. And so then it sends you into a spin.
Yeah, but that's emotional. But what you have to look at is, what is he dealing with? What is the club providing for the manager to change it? Do people seriously think Arteta don't know what he wants? And again, this is part of the emotion.
But did people seriously think that Emery didn't know what he wanted? It's fair for both.
No, I'm not saying that Emery didn't. People didn't know what Emery wanted. Of course, Emery. But what I'm saying is, Emery's an experienced manager who people talk about Arteta's a novice. So if Emery's an experienced manager, people are saying to me that an experienced manager could turn this thing around. They don't. They don't turn it around. And remember, it was the second season that put the knife and broke Emery's neck, because it all started imploding.
Yeah,
because of that dressing room.
Yeah, and the terrible plays that we had.
Well, actually,
yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was the Europa League final
Yeah.
that turned it, wasn't it? And
broke
then it carried on.
Yeah, totally. Wesbird, thanks as always for listening. You are epic, and so many of our squaddies in chat as well engage with us on YouTube. Some fantastic comments from you. Sadly, we have to accept where we currently are as a club, and sadly, as much as Wenger did for our club, it got to a point where the longer he stayed, the more damage was being done. Can't argue with that, can you, Kevin?
No, Wesbird's spot on. I truly believe, fair enough, in the first part, qualifying for the Champions League is important. But surely, if we're that club that we know and love, we've got to be trying to win it. Now, you get to the final, you had Barcelona on the ropes. You didn't quite come off because you got a man sent off. Let's be honest, Soph. What do you do the next season? You go again. You strengthen.
Mm-hmm.
You strengthen. But we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't do that. So again, whether it's Wenger, whether it's Emery, here we are with Arteta, who's trying to change it because he knows that way doesn't work. It doesn't work with a lot of these players.
Let's get to Gail's comment before we move to our next segment. A few more as well. There's one from David I want to put up too. Have been watching Arsenal a long time. I was at Highbury when we won the old European trophy, the Fairs Cup in 70. This current squad is painful to watch. Of course, we have emotions. And I think for generational fans, Kev, like a Gail, that saw, from the 71, double team to Graham's, a lot of football.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get emotional about something you've loved for so long and that was part of your life for so long. Because in some ways, Kev, it feels like a death. It feels like you're mourning something, and you're trying to move on. And the old Arsenal, you could argue, is dead.
Yeah, but it needs. Look, the old Arsenal, the Highbury Arsenal, is what we cling on to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I never once said I don't understand the emotion. What I said is, does the emotion cloud of judgment make rule our head? Because if you think about what's gone on, it needs change. Mm-hmm. Sophie, it needs change. We can't keep doing the same things, like you said on your great pod. Yes, you can't keep doing the same things and expecting a different outcome. You need to change.
Yeah. And David brings up a good comment too, Kev, because you keep saying, go get Basuma. Some fans have also talked about James Ward-Prowse or, players who've played in the league, who've ballers, Kev.
Put their foot in.
Yes.
Their foot in. And you know what, Soph? You don't need to tell them. When you go out there, you actually have to, when the opposition have the ball, you've got to go and hunt the ball down.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's ever had to tell me that on a football pitch, ever. Sophie, ever. Because that's the way you train, that's the way you play. You know what to do. But these players, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Kev, the toughest part, and I'm going to put, sorry, everything's moving so fast in chat. I want to put GB's thing up here because, everyone, look, Randy Lerner and Villa, right? Terrible. You talk about Hicks and Gillette at Liverpool. Then John Henry, the owner of the Boston Red Sox, comes in, does an amazing job. As much as Manchester United fans complain about their owners, American owners too, own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady this year, though, didn't they, Kev?
Yeah, done excellent. Yeah.
Right? So it's not like they're owners that don't have a clue how to get their sports teams winning. It's just circumstantial in the sense that United and Arsenal are definitely two clubs that have gone through legendary managers and amazing victorious years, but are coming off football cyclical. You got to replace these two guys. It's not easy. So the Cronkies aren't going anywhere, though, are they, Kev? I mean, they're not.
No, they're not. They're not going anywhere unless somebody pays a king's ransom for the football club. All right, but I've got to be honest here. So Arsenal have squandered a lot of money.
We have 100%.
We've squandered a lot of money because you can't tell me we've spent so much money and we don't have assets to sell unless we're really going to look at it's not going to happen, but a Saka or someone. No chance. And that was the difference with Liverpool, Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
When Klopp came in, Klopp looked at the squad, tried to put his plan in. They couldn't do it, Sophie. So what did he do? He decided, right, I've got to start moving and shaking, and that's what he started to do. It took him 3-4 years, but he had to do it because most of that squad was not good enough to do what he wanted to do. So he started moving and shaking. Coutinho was the star man. He sold him, got great money for him, and then he could start fattening that squad out, getting good players down that spine, and because he built the front first, didn't he? So they would score goals, but they were conceding. And then as soon as he went and got Van Dijk and Alisson,
that was it.
That was it. Because the midfield was kind of in place, but the defense wasn't. Then they just went on a tear. But it takes time. And I think there was only one player who survived the cull.
I mean, look what Bruno Fernandes, one signing. Again, your 60-plus range, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson. Look what Fernandes did for Man United. You take that guy out of that team or he has a bad game, they've got nothing.
Yeah, but still, so I look at Man United squad and I look at our squad and there's no comparison.
Well, they're a better squad, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a lot stronger. A lot stronger than we are.
Greenwood's a really lovely. I rate Greenwood more than Rashford, actually. And Pogba, I still think is a good player. I think Shaw's come into his own. You see how he's risen since Mourinho's left. They definitely have a better squad. Right. Okay, emotion. We did that one. Here is question number 2. Dieu Dio. Let's go.
Question 2. Who of the 8-9 teams above us are we better than? So if you need to check, have a little check. As a football club, not size of club, but who are we better than? That's question 2.
All right, Super Kev, I have the Premier League table. Good evening to everyone and the 200 plus of you in chat with us. You're listening to Kevin Says. This is the Highbury Squad Lockdown Series, Volume 2, Episode 63. We've got the legend that is Super Kev dishing out the questions, and then you guys give us your comments. All right, I always start when a question kicks in, and here's the table, Kev, right?
Yep.
One to above us, you said, correct?
Yep, all the teams above us.
Okay.
So there's 9 of them.
Man City, no. Man United, no. Leicester City, we're just talking better team, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Leicester City, no. West Ham, it's up for debate.
Okay.
Chelsea, it's up for debate. Tottenham.
Yep. Chelsea's up for the debate.
I think Tottenham are a better team than us. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. I'm sorry.
And you think, and you debate Chelsea? Who are above them?
Because with their
and they're in the Champions League semi-final.
No, it's why because when you have Harry Kane and you have Son, and they're 2 of the most prolific forwards in football right now. Yes, with Chelsea, it's debatable because their Havertz and Timo Werner and Thiago Silva and all those signings have not worked out as great. And they look good on paper, but they're the perfect team that may look good on paper, but in practice, they're not maybe as great. Okay. So that's why I say that. Liverpool, no, we're not a better team than Liverpool. Everton, We can debate that. Aston Villa, we can debate that. So 3 teams for me. I'm going to go to the chat right now. Let's line them up, everybody. Get answering this next question for Kev. Let's see. We've got to go up, 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 up. Okay, here we go, Kev. Scriv, currently, I don't think we are better than any team above us. Tucky says, the table says none, but I would argue we should be higher than some if we manage the team better. What do you think about that?
If we manage the team better, I don't understand what he means by manage the team better.
I think this is where he aligns with me. On paper, we might be better than Everton, but somehow we're not getting the same. We're not getting better results. So that's where the rubber meets the road for someone like Tucky, in the sense that we should be getting results. And maybe the reason we're not is because the team isn't managed better, in his opinion, is where I think he's coming from.
Well, but this is the issue. So whether it's management or not, the simple question is, are we better than them? Simple. Never mind. Don't tell me about this management and that management. It is how it is. People are saying we shouldn't be where we are. So how many of those teams are we better than?
Okay. Anik says no one. Super Flea says no one. Peter says none. Matthew says none. Erna says none. We'll move on. Fraser says none. Matty K wants to let us know that Norwich is 7-0 up. Thank you very much.
You're flying, they are.
Zamir, none. That was an easy question. Stefan says all the clubs except Leicester. Super Flea says we ain't better. Lone Star says Tottenham. Madine, Made in Brooklyn says none. The table doesn't lie. Arun, mid-table, definitely not good enough. The table doesn't lie, Kev. It never lies.
And Sophie, do you want to know why I asked this question?
Of course.
I asked this question because everybody is emotional that we're 10th in the league and we shouldn't be 10th in the league. So, okay then, where should we be in the league? So tell me who we're better than, who is above us. Do you see where I'm coming from now?
Yeah.
So if as you said, there's probably 3 that you could say, all right, even if we jump 3 places, we're still 7th. Do you understand what I mean? So there's not a lot in it. There isn't a lot in it.
The majority of the people agree with you. Tucky says the table says no one. Oh, I think we put that in. Gail, we lost good players like Van Persie. Yeah, that's all true. But here we go. The table doesn't lie. We should be 7th at least with this team on paper. We've underachieved. What do you think about that?
So, Sophie, you've got the league there, haven't you?
Yes.
Who is in 7th place and how many points is it difference?
Liverpool are on 49 points and the Arsenal are on 42.
So it's 7 points difference.
7 points. Difference between 4th place and our place, that is West Ham United.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, it's 10 points. It's 10 points between us and West Ham United.
You look at all them games, we fluffed and duffed at home. Burnley at home and all these teams we should have been winning. That's us right up the table. And a great point you made yesterday about our Wakanda man needs to show up with his extra goals. That's where we usually are. That's the difference, you see, Soph. That's how important goals are.
And that's where the manager maybe has to bite the bullet. And I know it's hard because you always think he's going to get us a goal. He's going to come good. You keep squeezing him in. He's the captain. He's the best goal scorer we've had in the last 3 seasons. And it's tough because at some point you have to maybe take a risk and say, I need goals. If goals are the difference, then who can get us goals? And I think that's where maybe, as ballsy as Arteta's been with some of his choices and sending players on loan and making the changes, he hasn't had enough balls to carry on with what he did with Oba and the North London derby and say, listen, you're going to have to sit this one out. That's been tough, and it's not easy to make that decision. It's just not. So Virginia says, on paper, the only teams better than us are City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester, and Man United. Do you agree with that?
On paper, no. I don't agree.
Who else is better than us then?
I think Spurs are a better team and squad than us. Who else?
We've got Everton. Are Everton better? Oh, you know what? We're going to get to this when you respond.
I don't think Everton are better than us. I think we're kind of on a par with Everton, because Everton have got holes in their squad and we've got holes in our squad. On paper, West Ham aren't better than us, but they are better than us, performance-wise.
Is that management?
Well, here's what I would say. David Moyes has got them grafting. They work hard and they've added a nice little bit of quality. And you've got to say Lingard's come in and done really well for them, right?
He's been a revelation.
But they were doing fine before. They were grafting before.
Well, now they're extra grafting and extra excelling, aren't they? Really?
And once you graft, Sophie, you are in games. It keeps you in the game.
You know, Kev, it's similar to Odegaard came to us with a point to prove, and he's playing like a player with a point to prove. Lingard went to West Ham, both coming from massive clubs, two of the biggest clubs in the world, Manchester United and Real Madrid. Say what you want about Man United, guys, but they are one of the biggest clubs in the world. And he's grafting and trying to show United what they're missing and what maybe they don't have in their team. And Odegaard, the same, come into Arsenal, took a while, but not too long, settled in, made a huge difference to this team. And you need 11 of that energy.
Grafters. You need 11 grafters.
You need 11.
You need 11 grafters. You
and
can't
we have 5 or 6.
Anyone.
Yeah.
And you know, Sophie, this was the problem with Mesut Ozil. We're saying you can't carry anybody anymore because the other teams graft harder than you. So if he's a one-way player, when you lose the ball, you're at a deficit. So you're going to struggle. But that performance on Saturday, we were still in the dressing room for the 90 minutes. Let's be honest. We never came out. It
was one of our worst.
Yeah, we never compete. That for me, that was on a par. That was on a par with Aston Villa at home.
Yeah, that 3-0 to me was as humiliating. I said at the time that was as humiliating as the 8-2. May not have scored as many goals, but that performance and that laying down without your sword, even by your side, was really embarrassing. So, Kev, I think most people agree. Some great comments. And also, I wanted to put this one up because I really wanted to know, Christoph, thank you so much. What are your thoughts on what Gary Neville said? Have you heard what he said?
Of course. I've heard what he said. I understand what he said. And as an ex-pro, he gets that feeling. Because when he looked at the footage of the games, Jan, do you remember I was saying before that no manager had to tell me you got to go and close him down. That's part of who you are at Arsenal. They weren't putting in the work off the ball. They weren't putting in the work on the ball. And that's the impression Gary Neville got. Because what he also said is, come Thursday, we might see a different Arsenal team, and I'll probably turn around and say, "What was I talking about?" But you know, we talk about the eye test, and sometimes when you watch on TV and when you're there, you pick up more things when you're there, like I did at Brighton, for instance. So
correct.
and at the Emirates against Southampton, then when I'm watching on TV, you sense it, you hear the voice, you get that feeling of, and you could see everything.
Mm-hmm.
He got the feeling that something ain't right with those front boys because they're not putting the work in. And if you don't put, Liverpool are doing it, why ain't we?
Right. And when a player like Neville says it, and he's seen a lot, you have to. I know there's some of you that are poo-pooing it, but I wanted to put Prashes up because I understand what he meant by mafia. I think what he was alluding to, Kev, was we just got rid of the clique: Ozil, Kolasinac, Mustafi. And I think what he was talking about was Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Pepe.
There's a new clique in town.
There's a new clique in town. And once again, as you've said before, the players, right?
The players,
now,
yeah.
How is this manager going to handle this new wave mafia? Well, it's a big one.
Well, I could honestly tell you, we're going to answer that, I think, in the next question because...
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's pump up the next question. Okay, here we go, you guys.
And number 3, which Arsenal players are safe from the exit door? That's the reality check we're talking about. So, number 1, do we let our emotions rule our heads when it comes to the Arsenal? 2, who of the 8-9 teams above us are we better than? Yeah. And 3, which Arsenal players are safe from the exit door? So I look forward to seeing you, engaging with you, dealing with you, debating you, whatever, in the chat. So let's get it cracking. All the very best and see you soon.
Now, this is a very important question because when we are rebuilding, and we're rebuilding in the summer, and I touched on this on last night's show, the turnover that needs to happen at Arsenal Football Club is so daunting that you can't do it all at once, right? Kolasinac is going to come back. Let's not forget this. He's coming back. We're going to have to figure that out. Maitland-Niles is coming back. Willock is coming back. Torreira, there's a situation going on with him right now. You got Mavro.
Officially, he's coming back. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Mavropanos. You got Guendouzi. And then you got to deal with what's at hand in front of you. You got El Neni, you got Xhaka, you got Chambers, you got Bellerin, you got Pepe, who's becoming an issue for some. Like, can you sell him? Can you get 30 million for Pepe now? You're not going to get 72. You're going to eat, like, you're going to write off $42 million debt. Like, this is what I was saying was mistake after mistake after mistake. You know, these aren't Arteta's mistakes, right? Now, he did sign Willian. He did sign Runnison.
Yeah, but they, again...
You know, he did sign Ceballos.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, on loan. But this is the thing. He can't make any moves because a lot of damage has already been done. He's inheriting problems.
All right, let's get to the squads. Let's see who they think is a keeper. It's one of those marry, kill, divorce.
I don't even think divorce is part of it. It's either marry or kill.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's start here with Archie. Welcome, Archie. Gabriel Tierney, Academy players, Martinelli, Cedric, Stefan, ESR, Saka, Martinelli, KT. Dominic thinks there's 4 to 6, but then he's also saying he doesn't know, which is hilarious. Anik, Tierney, Saka, ESR, Martinelli. Under Cronky, none. Amesy, I hope no player is safe from exit door, but I would expect a few feel much safer than others. Yeah, and Amesy, I would say Tierney, Gabriel, Partey, ESR and Saka have absolutely nothing to worry about. I may throw Cedric in that because Cedric has actually been decent for us. He's a Premier League player with experience, having come from Southampton. And for me, he's our best right-back option. It's just a shame Arteta keeps playing Chambers lately. And Bellerin, I think, understands what his future is going to be. Raul says, I won't give Arteta more to ruin this team. He doesn't know our best 11 after 30 games. He definitely doesn't know who his right-back is. Gabby and Partey. I like how you did your Gabs and your Gabby. Kev, we've got, let's see, GB. To be frank, since the North London derby, Aubameyang should never have played against Olympiacos, and he seems to have taken a dive stance on a diva stance on it all, not taken it on the chin and become motivated.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
He's not taking it like a man. Mark says,
point.
Gabriel, KT, Partey, Saka, ESR. Kev, you're seeing a trend here. Look at this. It's the same. We're going to get to you answering your questions next, so then you can just get to this one. But I want to make sure I get all the comments up. Saka, ESR, yep, it's the same.
I just think I've got a list here that I'm going to mention.
Okay, let's.
And I want people to tell me what they think.
Okay.
Because I honestly, I think there's a tier of squad players, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I won't even incorporate them in my list. It's just these are guys who can start.
Give us your list and then let's see what everyone has to say, because they've all come in. The general consensus, just before you do yours, is Tierney, Gabriel, Martinelli, Saka, Partey, Cedric, ESR. Some are saying Balogun as well. There's a couple for Lacazette. So let's.
This is who is safe.
Okay.
From the exit door. So Gabriel, Tierney, Partey, Saka, ESR, Martinelli, Saliba, Cedric. Odegaard, we don't know. Mari is a squad player. Holding's a squad player. Aubameyang, who knows what? I don't think he's safe from the exit door, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he's safe. I don't think Lacazette's safe. I don't think Pepe's safe. I don't think Xhaka's safe. I don't think Bellerin's safe. I don't think Chambers is safe. Ceballos isn't our player anyway. Odegaard's not our player. Obviously,
so
you've got the Maitland-Niles and all the. Sorry,
is Wayne closest here to what you're saying, other than Lacazette, maybe?
Yeah, other than Lacazette and Pablo Mari, who's a squad player. Pepe, I don't even think Pepe's safe. Leno, I don't agree with Leno. Luiz, I think he might get another year, but he's not going to be first choice. I think from the start of the starters, Saliba, you've got to be looking at Saliba to come back and get a look straight in.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
Straight away.
At this point, right?
What's the point in playing all these games, getting his eye in, and then he comes back and he's on the bench? It makes no sense.
Well, look, let's get you answering all three questions now, and the comments are going to keep coming in. We'll circle back to it. Question number one.
Mark's right. Brock the neck for the rest.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yes, Mark. All right.
I mean, Kev, I had 6 players, and then I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, when you look at
it, really,
it's scary.
Do you know, Sophie?
No.
You have to fatten your squad with certain players that ain't quite starters, but they can come in and do a job. Not a problem. We haven't even really got them, a lot of them. So we haven't. So when you actually really look at our squad and you say, on paper, we're better than this one, actually, I think we're quite weak. I really do. I think we're quite weak.
Do we mistake weak players for weak mentality at a club that's lost its mental culture? Because let's say you put Aubameyang in Liverpool's team right now, does he score goals?
Probably he does. Do you know why? Because everybody else are on a different wavelength. Everybody else are on that pressure. We know what to do. We hunt the ball high up the pitch. And he doesn't even have to go full tilt. They would win it back because of that midfield and defense. But when you have 4, 5 players, 6 players not doing it, Sophie, I've been in teams like that, let me tell you.
Kev,
You know what? You go home,
Mhm.
and you sit down, and you sit down, and time goes so quick, but it takes long. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
because you
And
cannot put your finger on it.
do you sit there? Have you found yourself sitting there like after a game, even when you were at Arsenal, Everton, Forest, wherever, even in Turkey, or you're sitting there and you're watching match of the day, especially when you're playing in England, and you've lost the game, and in your armchairs you're sitting there watching, you're thinking, that you don't have men around you who are putting in the same shift and effort or are mentally engaged. Have you felt that?
Of course,
That's
100%. And you know what? That is the most soul destroying thing.
mm-hmm.
I never felt that once at Arsenal. We went through some difficult times, but I never felt that once, because I know the guys beside me. I know the guys in the dressing room. One thing, Arsenal fans who watched it back then, we had difficult times, and there were times where we didn't do so well. But one thing you could guarantee, Sophie, we would graft. That's one thing you could guarantee. It may not have been pretty at times, but we'd graft, we'd get stuck in, etc. I've been around teams and I've looked around and I don't know them. I don't know them, and I can't put my finger on these guys. Can I rely on them? Trust. It's hard.
I
Very
can't
hard.
even imagine what that's like when you have so much at stake in sports. Because even in my career, I know I've gone into, like, you're doing a Royal film performance or a premiere, and the Queen's coming or celebrities are coming, and there's a weak link in the chain, and you are worried all the time as you're preparing and for the night. I don't want any mistakes. I don't want a disaster. But it's happened, and it's a reality, and those people exist, and they're there, Kev.
Well, you see, because the mentality, Sophie, this was the great escape. Changing the mentality of the players, and it took a few months to change the mentality. It did, because, guys, you want to play good football. I get that. But we got to compete first. There's a saying in football, Sophie, you've got to earn the right to play first. Then once you've earned the right and you've dominated your opponent, then you can play your nice fancy football. But you don't try and play first and then, like Liverpool, come and dominate you, and then you're reluctant to do anything. It doesn't work that way. That's not football. And let me just say this. People always tell me football's changed now. It hasn't. Because if you don't compete, you don't win.
Things around football have changed, but football as a fundamental sport, and it's the basics, it's the same.
If you can't get the basics right,
you don't win. You're
toast.
Win. Absolutely. Yes. And you know what? There's a truth to this. And this is why last night I was trying to say Arteta needs the summer transfer window to really bring in his own players. And here's where the rubber's going to meet the road. But I think the club has his back on this occasion. Unlike Emery, unfortunately, he was not able to survive the culling. What Demsek said, the club need to back Arteta. The players smell blood. Kev, I think that's what Gary Neville was talking about.
You might be right, but, George Graham always said to us, you'll be gone before I do. Just imagine that. The manager says, you mess with me, you'll be gone before I do, because I know it. I've been where you are.
Yeah.
Arteta knows. Arteta's not stupid. He knows. He knows what has to happen. He started the first part, Sophie, as you quite rightly said yesterday. The first part was getting some of these poison and crap out of the dressing room. Pay them off if you have to. Get them out of my sight. So they're gone. There's a lot of people calling for youngsters. He's not. Listen, he was reluctant to put the youngsters in a lot who are actually carrying the club right now. So the Baloguns and Aziz, you're going to forget that. Aziz is a youth team player. He's not putting that on him. No chance. He's not. But here's the key, Sophie. Arteta knows when he's watching, and he saw it on Saturday, I need to change this. That's why summer cannot come quick enough. It cannot.
Well, let me ask you this before we get to your summary. We've got 5 minutes left here with Super Kevin Campbell. It's another superb episode of Kevin Says. Great questions, brilliant responses from you guys. I love it when our chat is like full of rich conversation and dialogue
Sophie,
like this.
We're going to have to make sure we do
the follow-up.
Every fortnight follow-up or once a month.
We'll do
because we need to engage with these guys. They're brilliant, aren't they?
Because we get so much feedback on YouTube, and there's so much stuff that I want to get to, and I answer the questions and those that I want to present to you. We can never get around to it. So we're going to infuse a show that starts next week that is the response show. So we get to cover all of this. We love you too, FIFA Darren. And hope that, where is it? Kev, before you get to your summary, would you do this in the Europa League on Thursday?
Yes. Aubameyang will be on the bench. Because you know what?
The trust is gone, hasn't it, Kev?
Well, no, it's not even trust. I want energy. I want energy. And if you're not bringing energy to the table, you're no good to me, Soph. Not if you play for Arsenal and you haven't got the energy, sit down.
Yeah, totally. And I think linking fans to football, sorry, mate, I think what you're saying is a little bit nonsense with respect. The youngsters have been carrying the club this season. Have they not, Kev?
Well, our best player for the season has been Bukayo Saka. And then once he got Smith Rowe with a cameo from Martinelli against the Chelsea, remember, that was the turning point.
Yeah.
That was the turning point of our season. And then obviously you go to Brighton and you win. Saka creates again. And then you go forward and then you go on to West Brom and Saka and Smith Rowe and Lacazette link up, Tierney. It's these youngsters. These youngsters are carrying it for sure.
Okay. Right, let's get to your summary of your 3 questions in a nutshell. Emotion, yes or no?
Yeah, do we let emotions rule our heads? Yeah, I think we do. But I say the majority let the emotions rule their head. And it's no one's to blame. It's just how things are. As you quite rightly said, and Static said, it's 17 years of this pain. And now the pain is right there. The pain is with you all the time. And sometimes it will cloud your judgment. But like anything, sometimes you have to sit down and you got to take away the emotion and you got to look at it and say, do you know what? We haven't changed the way we do things for 15 and a half years. And look what's happened. We are heading downhill. We've got to stop it and we've got to change it. We have to. And that's what Mikel Arteta is going to do. He has to do it.
Yeah. Second one is
who won the 8 or 9 teams? 9 teams
are better than us.
Are we
better than?
Yeah. I don't. The truth of the matter is, I don't think we're better than any of them. If the game was played on paper, yeah, you could say, we could probably be a few places higher.
But it's not, is it?
But our top goal scorer hasn't really turned up. A lot of the players the experienced players who Mikel Arteta needed to rely on, he can't rely on them. He hasn't been able to rely on them. So, yeah, you look at West Ham and you say, this one's better than that one and our ones are better than these ones, but they're not, because they're not doing it. That's the bottom line. We are not doing it as a team and as individuals. And yes, the manager carries the can for that. But I've said it once. I'll say it again. Once you pick the team, you prepare the team, and they go out there. These are experienced players, Sophie. They should be able to do what the manager wants. And then you see them one half be rubbish, then the next half against West Ham, score 3 goals and wipe the floor with them. And then play Liverpool and can't get out of first gear. It's not right.
No, it's not right at all, and it's embarrassing as Arsenal Football Club. It really is. It's like having a family member that just keeps screwing up at the big shindigs that the family get invited to, and you're horrified. And that's what it's become at Arsenal. And I hope that somehow, I don't know, Kev, can we get through the next couple rounds of Europa League without Kieran Tierney? Are we able to do that? Then you're going to have to sacrifice Saka. You know, are you going to play?
Saka might have to play left back.
He may have to play left back, which takes away a lot of what we do going forward.
But if we have to do that, hey, that's what we've got to do.
Yeah.
Because you know what, Sophie? Needs must right now. It's needs must. It really is.
Yeah. You know, I really hope that he realizes what is going to work for him and what isn't, because Kev, culture has a huge thing. You know what it's like. I know what it's like. Even like, you know, Fox and Sony and MGM, when a new boss, a new executive vice president would come in, or a new, you've got the people that are going to follow him, but then you've got people who've been there a while that don't want to see him succeed. And I don't
change.
They don't want change. And until we arc the circle of the full change, we're still going to run into these issues. And unfortunately, I think Aubameyang and El Nen, I think they're part of that. I think Arteta knows that he knows. He's seen Pep do it at City, obviously with more funds to do it and better players. But he knows you've got to reboot, you've got to replenish, revitalize, and go again.
Yeah, he knows. And you know what? It might not be popular, some of the things he's going to do, but he has to do it.
Yeah, and Tucky, he did. And unfortunately, it was allowed to happen. But under this new project and plan, I'm not sure that's going to be allowed to happen. Kev, your final question. Who's safe?
Well, out of the only players who, in my opinion, are safe are Gabriel, Tierney, Partey, Saka, ESR, Martinelli, Saliba, and Cedric. They're the only players. Everyone else, if they could be on the block to be sold. Because all of these players that I've mentioned seem to me to have a desire to win. I think Lacazette has the desire to win most of the time, but I think he's a trading piece. So he's not. I don't think he's going to be at the club. But I think this team needs energy. It does. It needs energy.
Leaders.
It needs energy, but it needs a devilment. And you know, we've said it before. We're soft. We're soft. If Liverpool come to your place and you don't give them some licks, man. You know what I mean? They come to our place and bully us, and we're just there. Take it. Come on.
And that cross that came in, and a 5'7" player beat Rob Holding to a header, and Aubameyang's defense of the actual cross that came in, just awful, Kevin. Awful.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, and people, the much maligned David Luiz, he never gets beat like that. Have you noticed that? He always deals with it. He might make a rick here and there. Yeah, I agree. He has made mistakes, but he doesn't get beat on those crosses like that. This
right?
Jota's beat Holding. Sterling's beat Holding.
Yeah.
Huh? 5'7", 5'6", or whatever guys, 5'8" guys are beating a 6'2" centre half in the box.
And honestly, Kev, when some of them were wearing the Rocky shirt beforehand and all the Rocky stuff, I mean, the way they performed was not Rocky-esque at all. I think that's why a lot of maybe Generation X's felt differently after that game, because the Rocky thing was a big deal for us who saw him play. It was massive. And, you saw the love and all of it and what Arsenal Football Club put into it. And I think that was another thing Arteta was embarrassed about.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people might not agree with me here. I truly believe Mikel Arteta prepares the team right. And he cannot believe what he sees when they go out on the pitch and don't perform. Because you know what, Sophie? No manager sends his team out, especially at home, to sit back and not engage the opposition. No chance. No chance. They embarrassed us.
Yeah, they did. They really did. It was really embarrassing for many reasons. And I said this last night, you cannot evolve with the Holdings and the Chambers and the Onenis of the world. And I loved Holding and what he was able to do. And he might be a good squad player, but he's not a starter, you guys. No. There's a difference between having a good squad and knowing who your first 11 is. And right now, there's no doubt that Mr. Arteta does not know who his first 11 is because some of those players aren't there yet. And that's the reality. Whoa. Super Kev, 1 hour, 6 minutes, 353 going strong in live chat right now. And another superb, Kevin says, in the bank. Now, I'm going to miss you for a couple days, so I need to make sure I get your take on what's going to happen before you go real quick on the Europa League game against Slavia Prague. Not an easy game, tough lot, bit dirty, as we've seen, no doubt about that. There's going to be no Tierney. I'm not sure if Saka and ESR are going to be back, but it looks
I think they're trained today.
Maybe likely.
I think they trained today.
Xhaka, we're hoping, will also return. What's your take, Kev?
It's going to be a tough game, very tough game, and we need to turn up. But I think we're going to win the game. I really do think we're going to win the game. Are we going to keep a clean sheet? I'm not so sure. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win for Arsenal, because you know what? They're going to put us through the ringer again, I think. 2-1.
Yeah. And are you thinking we could see Cedric back at right back? Are you thinking we're going to see who's going to be the centre-back partnership in this one, Kev? And who's going to play left back? Is Cedric going to have to play left back and Chambers is going to have to play right back?
Maybe that might be the case. Or, obviously, if they really want to go for it, you play Saka left back and Cedric right. Because that gives us a lot more. That gives us a lot more attacking potential down both flanks. I could see, obviously, Pepe then playing with Cedric, who, as you say, plays better with Cedric. But we need energy and we need goals. That's what we need. And maybe Lacazette, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli.
I think we might see Willian in this game, Kev. I think Pepe will be dropped. I think Willian will play.
Well, I mean, when you look at what Pepe gave us on Saturday, he didn't give us anything. Not that we had the ball to give him anything, but you've got to run about, Soph.
Yeah.
And you know what? For all of Willian's faults and earlier on in the season, he was awful. One thing he has been doing when he's been playing of late, he's been working hard. So if you don't work hard, the opposition take you to the cleaners.
Yeah. I think the loss of Tierney is huge for this team. Losing Saka or a Tierney or an ESR, it's evident this season what happens. You guys saw the stats. I think Gary Neville put them up in terms of our winning ratio when ESR and Saka are starting. It's alarming, in terms of what they've done together and the games they've started together versus the 20 games. So Tierney's a huge loss, and what he does and how he does it, and the tenacity that he brings, the voice, Kev, on the pitch. He's a definite leader. So that worries me. But I think you're right. It's going to have to be, in order to win the two legs, you're going to have to put Saka there because he's the best option. And I think Cedric's the best option on the right, unless there's height, of course, in the side where Chambers can help combat that a little. But for me, he's nowhere near as good as Cedric going back or defending. So, all right, Super Kev, good stuff. Excellent show tonight. You will be back Friday. Is that correct?
Friday, yeah, I'll be back on Friday. Yes.
Okay, awesome stuff. And you guys, we have something new. We got something new to tell you about. Kev, what do you think about this?
Hey, listen, that's a good one. That is a good one. The Boy Wonder, our future.
Yeah,
it's a good one. Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
And look, no one wants us to go, Kev. Amesy and FIFA boy Darren, no one wants us to leave. They don't go, Kev. And so from Gooner Gossip TV, they're adorable. But we are going to have to go. But listen, we're leaving you this parting shot. Football Prizes, our sponsor. Go to the site, footballprizes.co.uk. And this week's shirt that's up for grabs, signed and framed, is future Arsenal legend, Mr. Gabriel Martinelli. Oh, that's lovely. How about them apples?
Nice shirt. Nice
Definitely.
shirt.
Right,
nice
Kev,
shirt.
Tell the crew until you'll see them Friday.
I'll see them Friday, but there's a what is it?
Wednesday Women tomorrow with Lindsay Hooper.
Tomorrow
yes.
with
she
Lindsay
does
Hooper. So
a lot of stuff for the Premier League, the BBC, the Offside Pod Raw, if you haven't heard it, with Hayley McQueen. Really great stuff. So check us out tomorrow. We will be on air earlier at 6 p.m. in the UK.
And on Thursday, obviously there's a post-game show, but I'll be doing the Europa League for Sky.
I love that.
So yeah, check me out. I love me Dickie Bow. I'm gonna put me red Dickie Bow on.
Oh, I love it.
Got to be a red one because Arsenal. Got to be Arsenal. Got to do it. So look after yourselves, and I'll see you for a trip down memory lane on Friday. This one's gonna be special.
It is
real special. So until then, squaddies, squadettes, and everybody else, always Arsenal.